Hi, everyone. Thanks for being with me for an update on some changes in the subtle fields of creation based on a response of our consciousness to the geomagnetic storms that have been rolling through our world over the last few days and weeks. Since around February 20th, we've been in a kind of period, a stormy period. I first wanted to say that it's not that uncommon for geomagnetic storms to shake up, to rise up and shake our world up a little bit after some kind of toxic event. And as we may recall, there was a very big toxic spill in Ohio in mid-February, and then the geomagnetic storms came through February 20th, February 28th, and 29th. We've had, there's another really big one coming up tomorrow. And of course, this video is going to go up on Saturday. So let's see, that would be Friday, the day before the video goes up. You'll see I'm filming on Thursday. But anyway, right around this time, very big geomagnetic activity going on. Also, for those of you in the more northern latitudes, if the skies are clear, do go out and look, because you can see all the beautiful colors that are produced by the storm. But the point that I wanted to make was it's not uncommon. For instance, after the nuclear power plants in Fukushima were vulnerable after the tsunami that hit Japan, there were a long series of geomagnetic storms after that event as well. I'm not, of course, putting the train derailment in Ohio as more serious. I'm not trying to judge or say that one is more serious than the other. I'm just saying that it's interesting that sometimes after there's been some toxic event that we will see geomagnetic storms. It's just interesting. I'm sure that there's deeper exploration that could be done on that topic. After all the information's already on the web somewhere, so enjoy. But the point that I'm trying to make is that the geomagnetic activity that comes to the Earth is not just physical. Our sun and all the planets and all the universe functions on many levels, many, we could say, dimensions simultaneously. And so there is a physiological element to that storm, but there's also less physical elements to the storm. And that's what I actually would like to talk about in this video. I feel that the wind from the sun, the hot wind, it comes like a hot wind, like a fire, but not like a senseless, indiscriminate fire, but rather a very highly discriminating fire that reaches the earth and comes to burn away elements that are present within the web of life. And when I say web of life, I'm referring to that astral level of creation. If we use my diagram here, source of creation is the water area, and we've got the causal level and the astral level that are independent of space and time, essentially, and then all the denser levels of expression of creation. So down here at this astral level and also into the causal level, as the wind touches that level of our reality, it blows away the structures which obscure truth. Leaving behind a scaffolding that is responsible as the foundation for all that appears on the surface of life. There's a scaffolding that's left behind. And when I first started looking at the scaffolding, my first response was, oh, it's so beautiful and it's so detailed. It reminds me of like some of the more elaborate Celtic knotting patterns that are that appear in like the Book of Kells or the Book of Lindisfarne, or some really, really intricate Celtic knotting patterns. But it also takes the form of sacred geometry. Mm. And the thing that I wanted to say about this is that, from my perspective, it appears that the relationship between the three most fundamental building blocks of our material world and the entire material field of creation has become illuminated and revealed in a way that it was not previously. Those three elements are the three gunas as understood by Vedic science: sattva, rajas, and tamas. And sattva is like the creative energy. It's when the impulse of intelligence rises out of the source of creation. It comes with intention and inspiration, and the form, the physical form that carries that intention is usually fairly pure. And then there comes a point where the form cannot handle the intensity of that purity coming through it. It's no longer, like you could say, an effective vehicle for representing the intention of the divine. And at that point, the energies of destruction come in. The tamasic energies come in, because the form, if it's insufficient in some way, then those aspects of the form that are insufficient need to be purified in order for the form to be reborn and reestablished in an even more pure, even more sattvic state. So we have sattva, which is the purity. We've got rajas, which is the energy that kind of causes the maintenance of that flow and of that evolutionary flow. And then tamasic energy is the energy that's deteriorating and destructing energy. And of course, we have to have all three of these fundamental values in everything that exists in creation in order to maintain balance, right? Because if it's only sattva energy coming up, then the whole universe gets too full, too filled up with form. And if it's only tamasic energy, then the whole universe just implodes under its own weight, and then we have no universe. And so everything has to stay balanced, all the time balanced. This is where the vision of what are those three gunas doing? Like, what precisely are they doing? And what I discovered about it when I looked, what I saw was the first thing that they do. They always show up together as the three values. And the first thing that they do is they create a balanced form. That means the structure that they create is so balanced that it's a perfect or optimized vehicle to express divine intention. So you can imagine it like a braid, where each strand of the braid maintains a sort of equal footing with each other strand. All the first expressions, all the finest expressions of the three gunas coming out of the gap between the unmanifest and the manifest come out in three equal balanced relationships with each other. But what's really, really, really interesting is that they then begin, braids start braiding with braids, and they begin to form the tapestry of the web of life as we know it. And even before they go into developing the web of life, which has many sacred geometrical forms in it, these braids that braid together, braids within braids within braids, you could say, are forming the fundamental flavors of the body of our universe that perpetuates the flow of divine intention through the subtle structures to the gross level of creation, to the manifest level. And once the initial balanced braids are created, or once one transcends past them, or you could say those braids start braiding with other braids, all kinds of combinations and permutations show up. So it's after that, it's not just like a simple, each sattva, rajas, and tamas on equal footing. No, you can get all kinds of forms, such as a braid where two of the values are wrapped around each other a lot, and the third one is just running along the side. Or you can get two of them wrapping around a lot, and the third one wraps around the outside of them. Or or all different combinations. Two are wrapping around a lot, then they go back to three balanced, and then a different set of two are wrapping around each other. Now, I just want to lay out a few fundamentals about this because we only have three elements that we're working with, right? So we can kind of like, that's not impossible. Right now, the vision is like this tremendous tapestry of threads of creation that, it's like complex, but it's only three. So let's just look for a second. If Sattva and Tamas wrap around each other, just the two of them, they basically cancel each other out, because Sattva is the expanding out and sort of the life-giving and growing and pure, and then the Tamas is kind of like the destructive one. So they'll cancel each other out. So what you get when Sattva and Tamas wrap around each other is you get the absolute silence of being. Really, it just takes everything back to silence. It takes it back to the source. And then Rajas is running along the side, maintaining that experience. When we have Rajas and Tamas wrapping together, then we have the maintenance of a destructive energy. And that's, of course, what gives rise to difficult situations and circumstances. But then again, Sattva will be running. Sattva will be nearby because they always show up together. So Sattva will be nearby. And if you've got Rajas and Tamas like that, like a dark kind of destructive energy that's continuing, it's like darkness having its day, what'll happen is Sattva can wrap around the outside and can reestablish the evolutionary value. Because if these two are wrapped on the inside and then Sattva wraps around the outside like that, we get an influence. Sattva's influence, it's pure influence, redirects the destructive energies of tamas, so that rather than being a problem, the destruction supports evolution. And that's sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have to take, like it takes a thorn to remove a thorn. And when I looked at that form, I thought, oh, well, that's just energy healing. Energy healing goes into the most difficult situations and circumstances and finds the evolutionary value in them, and then leverages it to cultivate the trajectory of change that's occurring in that part of the body. If you want a little definition of energy healing right there. Anyway, there are lots of combinations. There are lots of amazing combinations. If Rajas and Tamas Rajas and Sattva come together, you get this like maintenance of purity, increase of purity and evolution. And if Tamas is running along the side, that's okay. That's okay. Tamas can do that. And what you'll notice is that of these combinations, that the majority of them favor evolution. They favor the perpetuation and the sustenance of our universe. And I would say that is a byproduct of the fact that the source of creation is absolutely beneficent. It is absolutely in favor of life. So even though darkness can have its day, in the end, truth always wins. Always. We'll see what the geomagnetic storm brings us tomorrow. By the time you are watching this video, that storm will already be upon us. We'll be in it. And I hope it's really beautiful. And I hope it's life supporting for everyone. And may we have an easy and graceful ride through this next period, through the stormy weather. Thanks for being with me.